A few of the Amiibo from Wave 4, Jigglypuff, Ness, and Greninja are all retailer exclusives, and surprise, surprise, the fourth wave of Amiibo is already completely sold out at GameStop. I believe Best Buy too. I also think some other retailers. The day that Ness was available for pre-order crashed GameStop servers. The website was down. GameStop couldn't sell and buy things in stores in a lot of locations. It was an absolute nightmare for them. I'm sure Nintendo wasn't happy. Jigglypuff and Greninja are basically impossible to find. It seems like stock is lower for them than ever before. The bottom line is, Wave 4 is the most disastrous line of Amiibo that Nintendo has launched to date. Even worse than Wave 2, which still has half its stock sitting on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. How do they manage to keep doing this?
Please understand.
I'm not going to.
I mean, I guess this just goes to show that Nintendo is just not a very good merchandise company. Because this is their one big first-party merchandise initiative, and they can't even make it work.
They can't even.
They literally can't even.
Oh my god, guys, I, can't even. Yeah, no, I mean, it's insane to me, and I've seen so many people that I know who are avid Amiibo fans, like big collectors, really, really love these things, myself included, swearing off. I haven't sworn off, but I've considered it.
Have you really considered it though?
Yes, I'm not actively trying to buy them anymore. So that's a big step forward for me. I'll get whatever I can, but I'm not like looking, at the websites trying.
Colin is attending Amiibo Anonymous conventions and such now.
But anyway, you're having a lot of these people swearing off because Wave 4 was just such a nightmare. These figures are worth $13. They're not worth $13 plus the days of agony that they require to actually find them.
And it sucks because some of the upcoming rounds, like the Yoshi yarn ones and the Splatoon, they all seem really interesting and they seem differentiated from the way they've been offering them in the past, and I've been more interested in those. But at the same time, the buying experience is so terrible that I don't even care anymore. And that's been like a week since they announced them, and I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's really so beyond me that, Nintendo is doing so many retailer-exclusive Amiibo when the retailers have proven that they can't handle it, and B, that Nintendo still can't handle it. That Nintendo is still so grossly undersupplying stock, especially because, I think what happened with Wave 4 is that people realized, okay, Amiibo are in really short supply, so I'm going to try to get them while I can.
Yeah.
So a lot more people were going out trying to buy Amiibo at the first chance than they were in the previous waves, which made the issue seem worse than it is, or worse than it was, rather. But it didn't make it seem worse than it is because that's the same number of people who want Amiibo to begin with.
Right.
See, the biggest problem I have with all of this is Nintendo's really got kind of a mixed message going here. I wrote an editorial about this today, or it'll be yesterday now if you're listening to this podcast, where their strategy seems like they're treating Amiibo like a collector's item. They're under shipping, they're doing retailer exclusives, they're, everything's sold out, building up hype, everyone has to, wait around the what year is it? Wait around the internet to pre-order these things. But they've started plugging them a lot in commercials, and specifically in commercials targeted at families, at moms and dads, at kids. So their shipping methods and their distribution methods imply that they're trying to keep Amiibos, this rare item, this collector's item, where most of the value comes from the fact that it's rare. But then their marketing, all their commercials are saying, hey, buy Amiibo for your kids. Check out what Amiibo does in this game. It's a very mixed message to me, and I feel like Nintendo needs to either pick one side or the other. Either they need to stop wasting money on advertising Amiibo to family when most families can't really go out and get them, or they need to start supplying Amiibo in just much greater amounts.
So I think perhaps the most frustrating thing about this for so many people, which is at the same time hilarious, but also pretty infuriating, is that Nintendo seems to treat Amiibo, they don't downplay the problem. They pretend that there is no problem to begin with. And this isn't just, at the executive level. This is at, the level of the Amiibo Twitter account. Nintendo of America tweeted, which Amiibo do you want this Easter? And the responses were just pure vitriol. People
Wasn't
were
that
saying
after it had already sold out, though?
that was after it sold out.
Yeah.
Which shows just an insane level of obliviousness to just how upset their consumers are.
Oh, and the really depressing thing is it's seeping into the way they talk about their games. It's not just this isolated thing that's off to the side. Because in the Nintendo Direct, they focus so much on how the new Amiibo will give you stuff in your game. And so many people are just not going to be able to experience that at all. And yet here they are touting it in their major, announcement blitz for the spring.
And that's a big problem because when Nintendo finally started dabbling in DLC after being, sort of hesitant about it for years, one big thing they said is that they didn't want you to feel like you had to pay extra for content in your game. They didn't want anyone to feel like they were missing out on content. And now you're locking content behind Amiibo and then making those Amiibo almost impossible to get.
Yeah, you've somehow made DLC a scarcity. How does that even work?
Not very well.
Can I at least buy the Amiibo functionality for $1? Since you obviously don't want to sell me the goods.
So, I think what we're sort of getting at here is, has Nintendo become exactly what a year ago Nintendo's fans were saying should never happen and Nintendo was promising would not happen?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like Nintendo has become EA, except for worse. Because they have the hubris to think that they can dress it up behind this toy platform and, get away with it being a collector's item. And we have great Nintendo IP, so you love us anyway.
See, I would not say that that's a bad comparison by any means. I think it's pretty good. I would say the main difference is that I think EA is EA out of greed. Nintendo is Nintendo out of just stupidity.
Well, and they're not a toy company, and they're trying to sell toys, and
they're doing it so badly.
And if you look at the competing toy lines, the Disney Infinity and the Skylanders, those are coming from established toy companies who have good merchandising acumen, and they don't. You do have problems with getting specific figures, but it's nothing nearly to the widespread extent that Amiibo is in terms of the scarcity.
So how much of this do you think is just bad decision making by Nintendo versus poor planning, not knowing what the demand was going to be?
I think it's 50-50. Mm-hmm. I think it was acceptably poor planning to begin with. But after Wave 1, and especially after Wave 2, they should have realized we need to ramp up production on these things. And they just simply didn't. And now everyone is trying to go out and buy Amiibo right the moment they launch because they know that if they don't get them at launch, they won't get them at all. And now so many people are trying to do that nobody can even get them at launch because they're sold out within 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's only going to multiply as they add more lines of Amiibo. Right now, it's not so bad because the Mario line is mostly duplicated from the Smash Bros. Line.
And it's also, the Mario line is well stocked.
And the Mario Smash Bros. Figures were already well stocked.
Well, right, that's another thing that has me so confused because no one's having trouble getting the Mario figures. But somehow, the Smash Bros. Series is still just so horribly undersupplied.
Yeah, the Smash Bros. Figures even have a larger addressable market because more people have Smash Bros. than Mario Party 10 or Captain Toad. Sorry, bud.
Right.
Don't you blaspheme.
They're also having the same trouble with Splatoon. So it's a matter, I think, of them believing that Mario is such this iconic franchise that they should have tons and tons of Amiibo for them. But for whatever reason, not realizing that Smash Bros. Is that important to Nintendo's fans. Mario may be more important to the wider public, but Smash Bros. Has a lot more of the devoted fans who are going to try to get the Amiibos of their favorite characters, not just of Mario and Luigi.
Right. Well, and then you look at Mario Kart, which is that's even Mario still, and it uses Amiibo from outside of Mario, and they don't seem to be prioritizing letting people experience that.
Right. So,
short version, we're angry.
Yes.
Well, it's not just us. It's everyone who cares about Nintendo.
We represent everyone who cares about Nintendo.
We are the 99%.
Yeah, anyway, I could harp on this more, but
we have other things to discuss. Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.